Another year has come and gone, and Fire Emblem Heroes is still going strong. 2024 has brought a lot of new content to the game, from new game modes, new ether raid structures, even 2 new unit types. On the final day of the year, I'd like to go over my personal top 10 favorite units of 2024. I'll be taking into account units from the 2024 New Year's banner all the way to the Emblem Lyn banner. Let's get into it. Number 10. Young Male Robin.
Alright!
I think most people view Young Male Robin as a ranged copy of Brave Male Robin, and that's mostly correct. He comes with Brave Male Robin's C skill, Tip the Scales, that gives Rally Spectrum support, and even introduces a ranged version of Gambit, which at this point is not that good of a skill. However, there's one thing that this little tyke has over his Brave version that I think a lot of people have forgotten. His weapon, the Fell War Tome, has Flared Sparrow built in, allowing him to spread fire while freeing up his A slot. Yeah, I guess that's the only substantial difference. While definitely weaker than his female counterpart, I've had a lot of fun using Robin this year, especially in Ether Raid's offense. The Rally Spectrum support is really helpful with all the Scowl and Hush Spectrum debuffs all over the place, which is basically a death sentence to any unit that relies heavily on their special, like Emblem Ike and Attuned Tamara. Him being ranged also has made gathering pots in Ether Raids a lot easier with the warping from Tip the Scales. Look, I get it. At the end of the day, he's still basically just a ranged version of his Brave version, but in my eyes, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for male Robin. I think it's a combination of liking his design and voice acting. Overall, a fun unit that got overshadowed by his monstrously powerful female version. Number 9. Summer Festival Takumi.
Where are the food stalls?
We all knew Takumi was going to make the list in some way because, you know, Takumi fan here. He came with the Stall Game Bow Plus, which gives him the guaranteed follow-up attack status and extra damage based on the number of bonuses he has. Not a bad weapon, but I immediately swapped it out with Arcane Dark Bow. There's not much else to say here since he's basically a generic colorless bow cav. He's got pretty good stat allocation, focusing heavily on attack and speed. I kitted out mine with the Flared Sparrow and Assassin Strike combo for some pre-combat damage. Curve Shot has also been really nice in case he needs to tank a counterattack. I also really like his art with a lot of cute Japanese summer festival references. He's holding takoyaki, otherwise known as fried octopus balls, and a plush of dragon corn that he presumably won in an archery stall game. He's wearing a kitsune mask, which makes a very upset face when Takumi gets hurt. I really wish he wasn't a Grail unit, but at least that makes plus tending him a lot easier. As a Takumi fan, I'll take what I can get.
Watch how it's done.
Number 8. Emblem Sigurd.
Leave it to me.
Emblem units have quickly become my new favorite unit type. It feels like whenever a new one is released, the game is forever changed, for better or worse. They each have a special that is basically the hero's version of their emblem attack from Engage. They also introduce a new B skill that directly references a sync skill from Engage. They range from pretty interesting to straight up game breaking. Let's also not forget their emblem ring effects, which are equipable skills that can be passed around as often as you want. Overall, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with emblem units. Emblem Sigurd is the emblem of moving all over the fucking map. His weapon, the Holy War Spear, gives him Gallop, a new status that gives the user +2 movement. As if that's not crazy enough, it's completely immune to stall, so there's no stopping this emblem. Sigurd's special is Override, which is an AoE special that has Gale Force built in if the AoE hits more than one unit. Like, what the fuck, man? While it's extremely strong in Ether Raids, I do find that it can be a double-edged sword in Summoner Duels, as he's unable to Kanto out of harm's way and instead a sitting duck. Aside from that, Override is absolutely insane. He also introduced the B skill Momentum, which helps pre-charge specials depending on how much the unit moved. This is extremely strong for AoE spammers or basically any unit with an offensive special. Emblem Sigurd has been a staple on my Ether Raid's offense and defense teams ever since his release. He makes Gale Force teams not only very strong, but also very fun. He's also been a very important member of my Cavline team in Summoner Duels. Sigurd, Brave Crom, and any Dogger that gives Pathfinder are a deadly combo. And we can't forget this emblem effect. He gives the equipper +1 movement, unless they're a ranged cav, in either Kanto 3 or 2. It's really crazy that we can give Kanto to unit types that usually don't have Kanto, like armor units. The extra movement doesn't feel as crazy as it should since we've got the emblem Selka ring, but it's still very powerful. This fabled descendant of Baldur is quite something to behold. Wrong Baldur. Number 7. Brave Felix.
I'll handle it.
Another Gale Force unit has made it on the list. I remember when Brave Felix was first revealed, people weren't really sure what to make of him. He seemed like a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none type of unit. I think we all quickly realized that Brave Felix is crazy strong. He has a new Levin Sword, which, side note, is a weird name since we don't even have regular Levin Sword in the game, but whatever. It gives him -2 slaying, disencounter, hexblade, null guard, and 50% DR piercing. The super slaying is great for his gust special, but also allows him to go into an AoE build. Distant counter gives him a solid enemy phase, so he's not a total sitting duck like Emblem Sigurd. All pretty solid effects, but what made him go overboard is his B skill, Lone Wolf. Not only does it give him phantom speed and speed-based flat DR, but it also gives him another action after he attacks and after he just moves, so he gets 2 extra actions per turn with pretty easy triggers. This allows Felix to excel in basically every game mode there is. When paired with the Emblem Celica ring, Felix goes from scary to absolutely terrifying. At first I thought it was redundant, but now I can hardly imagine using him without the Emblem Celica ring. I especially like to use him in Ether Raid's offense, where he can use an action to destroy a building or trigger a trap, then either go in for 2 kills or 1 and then back away. The flexibility is what makes him so fun to use, and we can't forget to mention his outfit. He's dressed as a mortal savant from 3 houses, a class that most people consider suboptimal but seems to be Felix's canon late game class. I always thought the design was badass. I know a lot of people consider Brave Felix to be too powerful to the point of being toxic, and I agree to some extent, but I've found using Brave Felix to be really fun and enjoyable. Easily my favorite CYL 8 unit. Oops, spoilers.
Leave my sight!
Number 6. Emblem Lyn.
Leave it to me.
Emblem Lyn hasn't even been out for a week, and she's quickly become one of my favorite units this year. She's been a super fun addition to the game. She's the first unit in the game to introduce styles, which changes a unit's function. Lyn's Astra Storm special gives her a style that allows her to fire at enemies from across the map. I thought warping across the map was already insane, but attacking from across the map while staying safe in the back is just absurd. She pairs really well with Embla and other units with Undefended, as this allows her to snipe units without worrying about far saviors. Her Emblem Ring also allows the wearer to attack from across the map, though it has much more restrictions. It can't be activated on the first turn, it has a 2-turn cooldown, it has a shorter range, and it's locked to ranged units. Still, it has resulted in some very interesting combos. You can give it to Legendary Claude and he can inflict gravity on foes from across the map. Units with Flared Sparrow can spread fire terrain and slow down ranged units safely from the backline. The possibilities are endless. Emblem Lyn wields the Lady's Bow, which gives her Desperation and Preempt Pulse to her and her allies, which is pretty solid support. It also gives her a potent follow attack, which allows her to attack up to 3 times and up to 5 times with proper support. Just beware of Hardy Bearing, her ultimate weakness. She also introduced Speed Taker, which can give her up to plus 20 extra speed. It also gives her Null Guard and extra damage based on her speed. Once you get a couple of kills under Lyn, she really snowballs into a killing machine. So far, I've had a lot of fun using her in Ether Raid's offense, where she can take out targets safely for the first 3 turns due to the upgraded safety fence. Seriously, I haven't had this much fun in Heroes in quite some time. What a way to end off 2024. I'm really looking forward to other styles IS will add to the game.
Emblem, engage!
Number 5. Ninja Lucina.
Don't be seen.
I've always been fascinated by Lucina's future vision shtick. From Legendary Lucina up to Rearmed Lucina, it always felt fun but not too broken. That's not the case with the Ninja variant. Future Focus gives Lucina and her allies no follow-up, cooldown count -1, and a new bonus, Future Witness, which gives Kanto 2 stats, flat DR, and scowl. Like damn, could you not have fit more effects in that assist skill? It also synergizes well with her B skill, Speed Defense Detect, which inflicts exposure and stat penalties on her foes. That's a ton of damage, and I haven't even gone over her weapon yet. The Elise Ninja Bow gives her brave attacks, extra damage based on her bonus effects and her foes' penalty effects, 50% DR, Null Guard, and special cooldown count -1 before her first attack. She also comes with the C skill Shadow Shift 4, which allows her to use reposition when she cantos out, which is probably one of my most favorite new skills from 2024. It's just really fun to use. I don't know, it's kinda hard to put into words. When all is said and done, this unit was designed to be a great nuke and team player all in one. Her duo button is a traditional extra action that all ninja duo units have, except hers also re-enables her canto. I've definitely been screwed over in the past where I forgot Kanto had already taken place with previous ninja duos, so this is a pretty welcome addition. And let's not forget the wonderful attire they're in. The mask on Lucina's shoulder gives me Dread Fighter vibes, and Chrome's outfit gives me Mortal Savant vibes. I might not be the biggest Peneko R fan in the world, but they did a fantastic job with the father-daughter duo. I really hope Lucina can make it on the Hero Rises banner next year, as I would really love to plus 10 this unit. Overall, an extremely powerful and versatile unit.
A stealthy?
Finish.
Number 4. Aided Dogger.
Aye aye.
Dogger has always been one of my favorite Fae OCs, second only to Leaf, which was why I was really looking forward to the Book 5 Tempest trials. In recent years, Dogger has been known for giving Pathfinder to her allies, either to her whole team with Dual Dogger, or her support ally with both Windstripe Dogger and Refined Mythic Dogger. Aided Dogger follows in those footsteps by giving Pathfinder either to her support ally or the ally with the highest defense. This is really helpful when her support ally is defeated, as there's always someone else to give Pathfinder to, unless the highest defense unit is tied with more than one other unit on your team, then I guess you're screwed. Aided Dogger is not just a Pathfinder bot, but she's able to pack a wallop too. Her weapon gives her and her allies the null follow-up bonus, and neutralizes her penalties, gives her null guard, extra damage, and flat DR that stacks with attack speed excel that she comes with. In addition to giving both her and her support ally Pathfinder, her B skill, Featherfionir's Wing, I think I'm saying that right, gives her 50% DR piercing and 7 HP healing after combat. She's definitely not breaking the meta combat-wise, but she can definitely hold her own. She also introduced the first movement assist upgrade skill, Reposition Gate, which gives the user Kanto 1 after repositioning an ally. Again, not game-breaking, but a great addition to an already fantastic assist skill. And you know what? Let's briefly go over Aided Heroes. They're a new unit type that is pretty similar to Ascended Heroes, except they're not in the normal summon pool, even though they can't fodder duplicate, so somewhat lackluster, but whatever. They also introduced new AIDS accessories, which are nice, I guess. Just some fun cosmetic stuff. With Dogger, she gives her ally a mini golden chicken, which is pretty cute and better than a little robot dude Reagan gives. In terms of the art department, Aided Dogger blows it out of the water. She's now got a flaming chicken companion and wields a sick-ass sword and shield combo. And her special art? Oh my god. You know, Yamada Kotaro is known for being one of the best Fae artists, and I gotta say, this is probably his best work so far. Aided Dogger is easily my favorite Dogger in the game now.
This one's for note.
Number 3. Eikthrnir and Winter Eikthrnir.
Always ready.
I knew as soon as I saw the Book 8 splash art that Eikthrnir, or Deer Dude as he was known back then, would be one of my favorites. I mean, could you blame me? He's a hot face mask wearing son of a bitch with biceps the size of my head, thighs the size of tree trunks, and bulging titty muscles that can make any summoner swoon. Jokes aside, I couldn't decide whether to pick between Mythic or Winter Eikthrnir, so I went with both of them because they're pretty similar to each other. Both their weapons give bonus doubler to themselves and their allies and plus 6 attack and defense bonuses, which is a pretty decent amount of stats. Additionally, they give extra plus 3 visible stat bonuses on top of the bonuses given out at the start of turn. So with proper team building, they can give out plus 9 visible bonuses to all stats. They both also inflict penalties on foes' attack and defense and deal extra damage based on the team's bonuses. That's about where the similarities end. The Winter Alt also neutralizes foes' attacks and defense bonuses, neutralizes his attack and defense penalties, and gets a guaranteed follow-up attack. This is all pretty solid considering he's a Grail unit. Mythic Eikthrnir, on the other hand, has Kanto 2, Slaying, and Flat DR. Not only that, he's also got a preferred B skill, Divine Strength, which allows him to transform without meeting the usual conditions, and neutralizes his penalties at the start of turn. He also gets a guaranteed follow-up attack, 7 HP healing after combat, and inflicts more attack and defense penalties. He also introduced a new Beast-only special, Fierce Beast, which is basically the Beast version of No Quarter. In terms of physical matchups, Eikthrnir is second to none, but folds pretty quickly against magic. He's been an absolute beast, pun intended, in Ether Raid's offense and Summoner duels, providing both great support for his allies while also being a great frontliner and physical nuke. I'm really looking forward to more Eikthrnir alts in the future. Perhaps Summer Eikthrnir IS?
Muscle is power.
Number 2. Fogado.
Nice, nice.
Fogado has been one of my favorite characters from Engage, and since his reveal, I've been waiting ever so patiently for him to be added to Heroes. I just can't believe it took over a year and a half since Engage's release. The wait was totally worth it though, as the Prince of Psalm is pretty unique. His weapon, the Sentinel Bow, prevents foes from triggering their special. In the current metagame, many units live or die by their special. They either require them to land the killing blow like Brave Alphonse, or need them for damage reduction like Duo Fjorm. Taking away their specials really puts a damper on these units and gives Fogado a huge edge in combat. Additionally, he's got 70% DR and damage reflection from all forms of damage reduction. This seems to be a reference to the skill Back at You from Engage, the level 5 skill of the Cupido class, Fogado's exclusive promoted class. This can definitely help him take down some major threats with this follow-up attack. For mine, I gave him Assassin Strike for some sweet pre-combat damage along with Curve Shot for the damage reduction. Actually, now that I think about it, he's got the same build as Summer Festival Takumi. Honestly, I feel like he's a pretty underrated unit. I mean, he's not the craziest nuke in the world, and he doesn't offer his team any sort of support, but he's got pretty solid matchups against some of the most meta far saviors. He's definitely a long-term plus 10 project I'm looking forward to finishing. I can't wait for the inevitable Fogado ult to be added to Heroes. I just hope it doesn't take another year and a half.
Time to party!
Before I reveal my number 1 favorite unit of 2024, I'd like to go over some honorable mentions. These aren't necessarily ordered, they're just units I really like that didn't make the cut. Attuned Tamara is quite different from her Halloween ult. While the Halloween version focuses on applying guard and scowl on the enemy, Attuned Tamara is all about big damage with her unique special, Sandstorm. While it does pack quite a wallop, I find that she does very little damage otherwise. Still, if you can give her the right support, she'll be spamming Sandstorm all day. And let's not forget her fodder, which is absolutely cracked even for an Attuned unit.
Let's have some fun!
I didn't really like Attuned Azura all that much when she first came out. I mean, she's pretty alright I guess, giving her ally no follow-up, no panic, extra movement, and incited. My impressions of her changed once I gave her Shadow Shift. Because of her Kanto Distance +1 Max 4, she's easily able to both dance and reposition her ally, which is super useful and fun. I basically swapped out her entire kit, so now she can give Desperation bonus and have some decent fighting potential herself. She also came with Mercy Wing Echo, which is a really nice skill for a dancer like herself.
Accept my song.
I feel like a lot of people have overlooked young Emerin, probably because young female Robin was on the same banner. However, do not underestimate her. She's a great enabler for her allies to warp into battle. All she needs to do is either enter combat, have less than 60% HP, or use an assist skill. And speaking of assist skills, Magic Shield Plus allows her to take another action, very similar to Future Vision and to Change Fate. I guess it runs in the family. She's been really fun to use in Ether Raids and Summoner Duels. Just be sure to watch out for anti-warping shenanigans.
I have to believe.
Before Emblem Lyn was released, Nidavellir was actually my number 10 favorite unit, but because of how much I like Lyn, Nidavellir got kicked out and into the honorable mentions. I had already written my script for him and everything. How dare you, Emblem Lyn? Anyways, Nidavellir is an AoE spamming cav that gives his allies Hexblade and pulses down their specials. I definitely felt he was a bit overlooked when he first came out. His only big weakness is that he loses both his support and Kanto after turn 4. I know that the mech riding characters have this first 4 turn shtick, and I know most maps are finished by the first 4 turns anyways, but it still sucks that he falls off pretty hard during prolonged maps. Even still, I've enjoyed my time with the Short King.
We are free!
Emblem Ike is a bit polarizing. On release, he was basically unstoppable and shaped the meta around him. You either loved him because you were using him and he was killing everything in sight, or you hated him because everything you threw at him couldn't even make a dent on him. I tended to have a more positive opinion on him. His special Great Ether made him deal massive damage, along with dealing some AoE damage and healing afterwards. He also came with Lagu's Friend, one of the most overtuned inheritable skills of all time. Special acceleration, flat DR, DR piercing, it's no wonder everyone was trying to get their hands on it. His Emblem Ring, while great for certain units, is definitely the weakest out of all the Emblem Rings in my opinion. Ike's definitely past his prime, but even today, he's a force to be reckoned with.
This one's mine!
Emblem Celica is also a bit polarizing. Her Emblem Ring gives the wearer 5 space warping, which is just absurd. This is especially effective for units who can get extra actions, as they can use one turn to get into warping range, then fly right at you. At least it's stopped by anti-warping shenanigans. The same can't be said for Emblem Celica herself. Her Warp Ragnarok special allows her to warp from 6 spaces away, and her weapon, Carrying Magic, allows her to trigger her special twice in combat. She also comes with Resonance 4, which I found to be a little underwhelming, but is a great way for flyers and cabs to get some DR piercing. While she's not the most powerful nuke in the game, her addition has definitely impacted the game a lot, for better or worse.
I'll protect you.
Out of all the units from this year's Spring banner, Spring Mirabilis was the one I was most impressed with. Flying dancers have always been extremely powerful and versatile, as they can refresh their allies and offer guidance support. They can also equip one of the Tier 3 Dance B skills, which, side note, I wish IS would make more of. Spring Mirabilis also comes with a preference dance skill, Spring's Dream, which gives her allies bonus doubler and inflicts panic on her foes. With the build I gave her, she can give Desperation, bonus doubler, guidance, and panic support. This is a lot she can provide, especially when you consider she was the 4-star focus unit of her banner. In my opinion, she's unironically the best unit from the Spring banner. Yeah, that's right, eat your heart out, bitches.
Spring is here.
Number 1. Emblem Marth.
By your side, always.
Yeah, that's right, every single Emblem unit has made an appearance in this video. That's how much I like this new unit type. Emblem Marth brought a lot to the game as the first Emblem hero. His Emblem ring is quite literally slaying, which doesn't sound too impressive, but is actually vital for certain builds. One that comes to mind is shield fighter users who want to use the 3 cooldown damage reduction specials. It's basically universally useful. You can slap it on almost every unit in the game and they'll make some use of it. While not as impressive as the Emblem rings of later heroes, I believe this Emblem ring will remain useful until the end of the game. He wields the Hero King sword, which gives him damage reduction, 50% DR piercing, desperation, and dragon effectiveness. This has made him one of the best dragon killers in the game, especially when you consider he can get 3 attacks per combat. This is thanks to his B skill, Potent 4, which introduced the Potent Fall attack. This extra attack is usually a lot lower than normal, but thanks to Marth's special, Lodestar Rush, the 3rd attack is the full amount of a normal attack. I usually just run his base kit and slap the Emblem Celica ring on him, but I've seen him with attack speed excel before, and it seems pretty good on him. I just don't know if I'll ever replace his B skill. It just doesn't feel right since it's one of his synced skills from Engage. Now, despite how much I'm hyping this guy up, I'll admit that time has not been kind to the Hero King. Like most other Fatubers, I believe he's now the weakest Emblem hero in the game, and despite all that, he remains my favorite unit from 2024. I think it all comes down to his art, his voice line, and what he represents. Just like his title of Beginnings, Marth represents the ushering of the emblems into heroes, and it only makes sense that the first lord of the franchise do that. His art, drawn by Fujikawa Akira, is absolutely breathtaking and is not only the best Marth art in the game, but also the best Emblem hero art, at least in my opinion. Also, it's been great to hear Yuri Lowenthal voice Marth again. When he says Lodestar Rush when his special triggers, that is the good stuff. Emblem Marth has been an absolute blast to use, and he is my number 1 favorite unit from 2024.
One shining strike!
And that covers my top 10 favorite units from 2024. I hope you enjoyed me going over these units. 2024 has been another crazy year for Faye, and I can't wait to see what else IS is cooking up in 2025. While you're here, I'd love to hear who are some of your favorite units from 2024 in the comments below. And to you, the viewers out there, thank you for sticking with me and my channel for another year. Here's to many more in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.